Coming up on today's show, I want to look at some of the winners and losers for the Atlanta Falcons stemming from the NFL draft, because there are definitely some guys who had positive reactions and takeaways from what Atlanta did, and then definitely a few players that probably feel like they're on the hot seat a little bit after the selections Terry and Raheem made. So let's start off with my first winner, and that is Michael Penix. This might sound a little backwards since Atlanta didn't go out and make any big splash offensive draft picks in the first few rounds, but I gotta envision that Penix, sitting on his couch watching the NFL draft, was very happy to see Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris start to build a defense that can help support a lead built by Penix and company. Because since Terry took over in 2021 as the Falcons GM, Atlanta ranks 29th in points allowed, giving up just over 24 a game. That is putrid. I mean, thank God the Panthers are also in their division. But if you're Penix, sure, it's always fun to see a wide receiver pick or an offensive tackle pick. But you know what's even more fun than that? Winning ball games. And you know what's the most frustrating thing for a quarterback? If you put up 24 points a game and your defense goes, sorry, that wasn't enough, right? That's a really big ask for a quarterback to go, so if you want to win, we're going to need probably 4 touchdowns from the offense today. There's just little room for error. And with these defensive picks early in the draft, it should create a much, smoother ride on Sundays for Penix to go, hey, we don't need to put up 30 every single Sunday if we want to find a way to win this game here. In fact, I did a little bit of digging and research. Since 2022, so the last 3 seasons, the Falcons' win percentage when they score 24 or more points is 0.71. Meanwhile, the league-wide win percentage when scoring 24 or more points is 0.78. Not miles apart, but in the course of a 17-game season, that could be the difference of 1 extra win, 1 extra loss. That could be the difference between Atlanta watching the playoffs from Cancun or playing in the playoffs, as we saw last year how close it was down the wire between themselves and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, Michael Penix getting a defense on the other side of the field that can actually help, complement what the offense does has got to be an awesome thing. And if you still feel like you want to defend the defense, which I doubt anyone does at this point, how about this? Since 2017, the year after the Falcons made the Super Bowl, they have lost 18 games when scoring 24 or more points. That is bottom third in the NFL. Just around the neighborhood of choke artists like the Minnesota Vikings, the Detroit Lions. I was surprised to see the Buccaneers up there, but then I remembered, oh, that's just all Jameis. And I don't want the Falcons to be Jameis, where they can score a bunch of points, but they're going to give up a bunch of points, and they're going to lose a lot of games 33-30. Sure, points are fun, but when it happens over and over again that your defense just gets waxed, it starts to lose some of the, pop offensively. So the defense, in my eyes, should be better. Coming out of free agency, I didn't really feel that confident that the defense actually improved based on the losses they had and the gains they made. They lost Grady Jarrett, Nate Landman, Justin Simmons, Matthew Judon as well. Didn't even fit him on the screen. But after the draft, you added Pearce and Walker as 2 young, fast, athletic edge rushers to pair with a veteran in Leonard Floyd who consistently gets around 8 to 9 sacks, and then a fast linebacker in Divine Deablo. This defense has a new identity under Raheem Morris. They want speed. It showed with their free agent signing. It showed with their 2 draft picks in round 1, and I think this defense is going to be fast and better than it was in 2024. So let me know, do you feel like the Falcons defense improved, or am I on my own here? There's probably just a little bit of drinking the draft Kool-Aid where every single team feels like their team made all the best picks in the world and they're all going to be Pro Bowlers, but I really do like this Atlanta draft class. The first loser I've got is the former second-round pick from Penn State, Arnold Ebiki. The reason why I've got him there is when I started the video off by saying some people were watching the draft loving the picks and some people were probably feeling like I'm on the hot seat. I was really talking about him because look at what Atlanta has done in the last 2 months. They signed Leonard Floyd. Plays the same position. Then they draft Jalon Walker and James Pearce. Plus, they took a third-round pick last year from Washington in Braylon Trice at the edge spot. Ebiketie is quietly fighting for a roster spot. They have added 3 players at his position, and they took a guy in the 3rd round last year who missed the entire season with a torn ACL, but will be coming back this year. So if you're Ebiketie, I don't think you really loved when you saw Atlanta trade back into round 1 for yet another player at your position. To me, pressure is on for the former 2nd round pick. Just 2 seasons in a row of 6 sacks. Atlanta's looking for guys who can get to the quarterback, and unfortunately they have not gotten that out of him. And with Pearce and Walker in the mix right now, obviously they're going to be, not just locks to make the roster, of course, but, prominent players in this defensive game plan, because one was the 15th overall pick. One was a guy that Atlanta felt like, hey, we need so badly, we're going to give up our 1st round pick next year, or we're going to use our 1st round pick next year on Pearce right now. So I'm excited to see what this Falcons pass rush looks like. And on top of those 2 picks, before it all even started, you got Leonard Floyd in free agency. Last year with the Niners, 8.5 sacks. He's bounced around the league a little bit, but he comes back to his home state in Georgia. And I'm excited to see, like I said, what this pass rush looks like, but I don't think it's going to feature a lot of Ebiketie. Before we look at the other winners and losers, quick reminder that we're not going to slow our roll during the offseason now that the draft is over. We're about to hit peak dog days of the offseason, but if you're looking for a free go-to Falcons YouTube channel closing in, hopefully on 50,000 subscribers, still a little bit of ways to go, but we're, chipping our way there. Scroll on down and click that sub button. Our second winner is cornerback Mike Hughes. He signed a 3-year contract in free agency, so you knew that there was some level of commitment from the team in Hughes. But when the Falcons did not go with a traditional corner in the draft, this really cemented not only Hughes as a starter for 2025, but they didn't take someone that maybe could replace him in 2026. So it's more or less his job to lose year after year. Whereas if they took like a Will Johnson in the 2nd round without that 2nd round pick still. But you know what I'm saying? Like if they took a corner at some point, you could look at it as, oh, that's Atlanta already preparing to move on from Hughes, and they've got his replacement in the wings to learn for a season and then step into that role next year. Kind of like they did with Rook and Grady Jarrett. But instead, they really didn't do that. The closest thing they came to it was drafting Oklahoma safety Billy Bowman, who they planned to move to nickel, but I don't think that should, encroach into Hughes' territory too much. So overall, Mike Hughes, watching the draft, probably had a nice sigh of relief of, hey, they didn't go get another corner to kind of push me out after my first of 3 years into this contract, since we know contracts are really never what they are, or what they say to be. It's only about the guaranteed money. And a lot of that guaranteed money would be up after year 1 of the deal. Second loser, I'm going to go with safety Jordan Fuller. Just how Mike Hughes watched the draft with a little bit of relief, Jordan Fuller, who came over from the Panthers, he played under Raheem Morris in LA, winning a Super Bowl with the Rams. Yeah, I don't think he was stoked to see Xavier Watts get picked in round 3. That was probably a little bit of a, kick in the butt. I really got to earn this job now. There's always going to be competition, and, let the best and the, best rise to the top and things like that. But, yeah, not probably what Fuller wanted to see. And if you think about it, I could make an argument that these first 3 picks right here, just moving away from Fuller for a second, are the best 3 picks the Falcons have made. And I'll show you that why in more detail in a moment here. But I think Fuller watches this draft and goes, okay, yeah, I was hoping they didn't go out and get a safety in day, 1 or 2 of the draft. Now, Moose, let's look at my next winner before we look at this next thing right here, because my 3rd and final winner for the Atlanta Falcons is going to be GM Terry Fontenot. Yes, I'm going to put Petey Fontenot as the 3rd and final winner here, because reviewing what he did with his first 3 draft picks, like we just looked at, this has got to be his best 3 first picks in the draft in his entire GM history. You know what I mean? Like, he goes Jalon Walker, James Pearce, Xavier Watts. To me, Those are the best 3 first picks he's had in his entire GM career. Let's go back to his first draft in 2021 when he took Kyle Pitts 4th overall. He followed that up with Richie Grant, 40th overall, I believe, safety out of UCF, and we'll throw it on screen. And then 3rd round, he goes with Jalen Mayfield, who is an absolute bum of a pick. So you go kind of 1 for 3 if you want to count Pitts as a good pick, but you can make the argument 0 for 3 given that he was the 4th overall pick. So not a good start for Terry, who got the job because he was a draft wizard, okay? Moving on, though. Let's look at Atlanta's 2022 NFL draft. He goes Drake London, number 8. Good pick. Great pick. Solid, but he's been injured. So 1.5 out of 3. Then in 2023, once again, same pick, 8th overall. And he goes with Bijan Robinson in round number 1. Great pick. Matthew Bergeron, very good pick. He's been a very good guard for this team. Zach Harrison, it's round 3. You shouldn't have super high expectations, but he's been a solid rotational guy, but nothing more than that. So probably his best draft of the first 3 he had to that point. Then last year, takes Michael Penix. Jury's still out, but early signs are good. Rook was more or less a redshirt freshman last year. I mean, he didn't play for the first third of the season. Played a little bit later on in the year, injured his ankle, so still too early to say. We missed all of Braylon Trice. This one is completely, still TBD. We can't grade it. But then in this draft, he goes out and he gets, I think, the best 3 first picks he's ever had in a draft. Sure, recency bias is kicking in right now, but you get James Pearce, you get Jalon Walker, and Xavier Watts. 3 guys I truly believe to my core can be starters for this team by the end of the season. All right, before we wrap up today's video, quick shout out to our friends at Fanatics for having this awesome deal right now where you can get a rookie jersey by going to chatsports.com/ATL rookies. If you want to get a Jalen Walker jersey, they've also got a James Pearce jersey as well. So if you want to add a little bit of, new flair to your Falcons wardrobe, use this link. I put it in the comments and description of today's video. So to recap, we go Pennix, Mike Hughes, and Terry as my 3 winners for the Falcons coming out of the draft. Arnold's got way more competition at his spot right now, and Fuller has to deal with not 1 but 2 DB selections, one of which plays safety, trying to take his starting job. So who do you think the biggest winner or loser was stemming from this draft? Is it one of the 5 people I have on screen? Is it someone I left out? Let me know in the comment section below who you think the biggest winner or loser was down below in the comment section. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have not yet, scroll on down and click that sub button.